Hey, yo, blessings and greetings, man. You already know it's your boy, Mr. Carolina, coming to you from the Bleeding Carolina Blue podcast here on YouTube. Now, before we get into this video, man, I'm going to make it a short. You already know, like, share, subscribe. I know, before y'all get on me, your boy hasn't been on here in a minute. Life has been happening. Opened my own company. It's called Men of Honor, Virginia Notary. Get more back to that later because it's not about that. But breaking news, not so much breaking news. If y'all been paying attention to our Panthers, according to Pro Football Rumors, Panthers to move on from Donte Jackson. Now, this was just printed out today. Looks like around 12:53 p.m. Central Standard Time. As cost-cutting season continues around the NFL, the Panthers are among the team which will be shedding veteran contracts. Carolina is expected to trade or release quarterback Donte Jackson, per ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Jackson is due a $4 million roster bonus on March 16th, meaning a decision one way or another will likely be made by that point. The Panthers will no doubt attempt to find a trade partner before proceeding with a release if necessary. In the latter case, the team will see $5.94 million in cap savings against a $9.78 million dead cap charge in 2024. 1 year remains on Jackson's pact, a 3-year, $35.18 million deal signed after the expiration of his rookie contract. Am I surprised by this one? No. I can't even say in the least bit I'm surprised by the Panthers ready to move on from Donte. Now, do I hope that they can find another role for him? Because for as fast as Donte is now, it says Donte's been here. Again, we gotta remember Donte was a second-round pick. He's a second-round pick. He's been here his entire 6-year, I believe it is 6-year career. But Donte has always had ankles. Like it's one injury after another, year after year. He shows flashes, but Donte relies too much on speed. He relies too much on speed. His technique tends to waver. He'll come up with big pass breakups. He'll come up with big hits in the run game. So I'm not saying he's not serviceable, but for a number 2 corner, you need to be the best ability to be available. He's not really available. And again, he gets burnt way too many times. Now, would I like for us to bring him back? Absolutely. Again, I like Action Jackson. He got that dog in him. You know, he shows grit. He steps up to the plate. You know, him and JC make a nice 1-2 tandem, but JC is the future. Like, JC's the number 1 corner. He's the number 1 corner we thought Donte was supposed to be. But I said, am I shocked? No. Would I love for Donte to come back? Absolutely. But, you know, Dave Canales, Dan Morgan, this new front office, like they're putting their stamp on, like, we have to make sure that you fit the mold of keep pounding going forward. Again, not saying Donte doesn't, but they're looking for particular players to move into the future with, and you have to be on par with what they're looking for. So Donte, like I said, maybe he can move into a slot. You know, he has the speed for it. He maybe even a safety role. Like, who knows? But with his injury history, with his failure to adjust his technique or learn from past mistakes sometimes, he's not. I don't trust Donte on an island by himself. I'm sorry, I just don't. And I said, I like the guy. I really, really do. So if that money could be allocated elsewhere, Derek Brown needs to be resigned. Brian Burns. We'll get into that later, but this one was about Donte. Well, I put it this way, and it's a great breakdown. Jackson was limited to 9 games in 2022 due to an Achilles tear. He managed a full recovery, which is awesome because Achilles is nothing to play with, especially when you rely on speed. And suited up for 16 starts in 2023. So, he started. He totaled 53 tackles while remaining a full starter, although he was held without an interception for the first time in his career all year. The LSU alum also had a down year in coverage, allowing 3 touchdowns as the nearest defender and surrendering a passer rating of 107.7. Again, relying too much on speed. And I say he's not a bad corner. So, people are going to want Donte's services. He's not a terrible corner, but for what he's getting paid right now, it's like I equate it to basketball. It's like an expiring contract. If you can get something for it, then get something for it. But if the guy can restructure his contract a little bit to save the team some money, which Shaq did it. Shaq was like, hey, I know I'm getting paid such and such and such. Look, I restructured my contract, because I want to be here. If you want to be in a certain area, if you want to be on a certain team, then you'll restructure your contract because that's where you want to be. If Donte truly wants to be here and he really wants to contribute to the turnaround, then I don't see why he or his agent would say, hey, you know what, I really want to be here. I don't want to be traded. Is there a way for me to restructure my contract? Now, I'm not in that man's pocket, so I'm not telling him what to do. But I would love to see Action Jackson back. I would love to see him be part of the turnaround because, I know I haven't done a video on it, but I love the hire of Dave Canales. I love that I love the fact that David Tepper is getting out of the way. I love the fact that he's letting Dan Morgan be a GM. Again, another former Panther. Dave Canales is bringing in his guys. He's bringing in his coordinator, who's apparently now is not going to call plays. So, Dave Canales, please don't pull a Frank Wright and all of a sudden switch play calling duties to the other guy and then take it back. But I like the fact that he's coming in with his agenda. Like he's coming in, boots on the ground, so to speak, and he's laying the foundation. And he is analyzing guys that will work and will not work. To that point, I love what they're saying about, hey, what we want to build from the trenches. And what they're saying is, hey, interior offensive linemen, you guys are on notice. You are on notice because we need to protect our star quarterback. We need to protect our first overall pick quarterback to see if he has what it takes, to move forward. And so Dave Canales has said nothing but glowing things about Bryce Young. But in order for me to get a fair evaluation on Bryce Young, I need to have him upright. So Bradley Bozeman, Chandler Zavala, heck, they even said Taylor Moton. They said the only thing that we know right now is what they said, and it could be smoke, is that the only one that going into mini camps, training camp, things like that, is Icky is going to be at the left tackle. They are looking for interior offensive linemen, according to reports, because we want to see what Bryce Young has going on, and he has to be upright. They're not saying they're cutting everybody. They're not saying, hey, everybody's got to go. But you know what? We have to see what we have in Bryce Young. And I said back to Donte, we need to free up cap space because it looks like we're going to go heavy on offensive linemen in free agency. We may grab one or two maybe in the draft or unrestricted free agency, but undrafted free agents. But it looks like what they're saying is we're going to get linemen in free agency, proven veteran linemen, and they're going to go for playmakers in the draft. And it looks like what I'm looking at here is we have about, going in today, we have about $35 million in cap space. If they're saying we're going to do what we're going to do, right, if we're going to trade or release Donte, we need to find a new starting corner to pair with JC, of course. We need to find, either we're going to tag and trade Brian Burns, or we're going to tag him and work on an extension. But according to reports, we're not even close. And they just said, hey, look, Brian, we're not going to negotiate with you right now. Which is okay, because you're not, because you're working on the combine. Like, this is Dan Morgan's first offseason as GM. This is Dave Canales' first offseason as a head coach. We don't have time right now, dude, to fool with you in this extension. We have to figure out what we have going forward. Now, Dave Canales and Dan Morgan have openly said, hey, we would like Brian Burns back. We want him back. We want him. He's part of the pass rush. He's part of the turnaround. He's part of that defense that was there that we want back. But also, we have to be smart with this money, because Brian Burns, while we love you, we need to resign Frankie Louvu, big part of this defense, and we need to work on an extension for our stud defensive tackle, Derek Brown. So we need to be smart with this money. And again, Brian Burns, while I would love to see Mr. Burns back, 30-something, 35 million. Again, I'm not saying what the brother's worth, because I'm not in his pockets. But that's not you. That's not you. There's too many games where you had no sack or one sack. 30, 35 million, you better be causing havoc. 30, 35 million. Nah, man. Like, that's not you. That ain't you, Playboy. But again, we'd love to see him back, but we have to think about it as a whole. So if we're letting Donte, we're either trading Donte or, like I said, we're releasing him, now we have to go out and get another corner. And we can't be wasting 30, 35 million on a defensive end that is not consistent. I hate to say that, but he's not consistent. And again, we still have to re-sign Louvu, who's a big part of our linebacking core. He's one of the core players on our defense as well. Again, we still need to work out an extension on Derek Brown. We still need to allocate some of that money towards interior offensive linemen for what Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are saying. So we can't allocate that money for a defensive end that has very little to no impact on the game. As I said, as much as I love Brian Burns, this is no shot at Brian Burns. But as much as I love him, we can't allocate that money towards you, dude, when we know we need it elsewhere. Like, we can't do that. It's not smart football. And I don't see Dan Morgan and Dave Canales in their first offseason allocating that type of money towards the defensive end. I don't see it. Especially one that is as good as Brian Burns is or could be. He's not at that top tier of defensive ends. Now, is he good? Yes. Is he great? No. Because great ones impact the game on a game-to-game basis. And like I said, there were multiple games where you didn't see Brian Burns at all. We forgot he was on the field. And then we look at it playing at camera some days, he's on the sideline. So, again, it's not to take a shot at Mr. Burns. I love Agent Zero. Again, I would love to see him come back, but the money he's asking for, no. But then again, he might, according to reports as well, Brian Burns may be a part of a tag and trade. So we're going to tag him and we're going to trade him. The hot rumor out right now is that it's T. Higgins. Like, we want T. Higgins. Right now, Cincinnati said, yes, they're tagging T. Higgins, but they want to tag and trade too. So T. Higgins would actually give us a legit number one receiver, which we desperately need. Adam Thielen, love him, but he's in the latter stages of his career. He's in his mid-30s. That's not a point where you want a number one receiver in their mid-30s. Now, could we go find a stud wide receiver in the draft? Absolutely. This is a heavy wide receiver draft. A lot of talent at the wide receiver position in the draft. But I'll divulge into that on another video as well. And I'm going to start banging out these videos again as well. And I'm going to start going over prospects. We're going to start going over videos. We're going to start watching prospects. and see who the Panthers, and get your input on, well, who do you feel like the Panthers should take at 33? Should we try to trade back into the first round? Should we trade back and get more picks? For me, I am a fan of both. Can we trade back? Absolutely. Do I think it would be smart strategy? Absolutely. But do I also think that we can stand pat and take BPA? Absolutely. Whether it be a wide receiver, one out of Florida State who's 6'4", 215, that we need a red zone threat, because we don't have one. We don't have a red zone threat. Or would it be, I like the Troy Falamalo, I think his name. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, brother. The versatile lineman out of University of Washington. Just like two names right there. It just, we need to upgrade in talent at the wide receiver position. We need to upgrade in talent on the interior offensive line. And depending on what we do with Donte, we need an upgrade at the corner position. So this is holes that a first-year coach and first-year general manager are trying to figure out, as well as trying to make sure that they don't cripple themselves, because depending on what goes on with Brian Burns, we may need to figure out another defensive end. It's a lot going on this offseason that, I'm happy to see Mr. Tepper take a step back. I'm happy to see him get out of his own way. Please let that be the move going forward, because let the front office people, let the people you hire do their job. And so it's refreshing to see that they're saying, hey, we have noticed a few things going on with some of the players on the roster. Their play and their contracts aren't adding up. So changes need to be made, especially when you come off a record-setting season where you only won 2 games. Things need to be changed. And it's refreshing. Like I said, it's refreshing, and I'm happy to see that a front office is making a change. Like they're actually noticing, hey, we need to address this hole. We need to address that hole. We have players that are underperforming for where their contract is paying them. And, I love what David Canales said too. Like, I have no emotional ties to any of these players, so I can look at it objectively. He has no ties to anybody on this roster. 0. The only player right now that you could kind of say he's tied to, is one of the reasons he said he took the job, was Bryce Young. But he didn't draft Bryce Young, but he said, hey, you know what? I want to get my hands on this young man and push him. I want to put him in positions where he's getting the ball out of his hands faster, where his first and second option are getting open a lot quicker. So he's not taking those monster hits that he was taking last year. So, again, I'm anxious to see that with the money that we could save by either releasing and trading Donte and Brian Burns help. Absolutely. But what I love to see is bring our defense back. I've said this previous videos. Absolutely. I would love to see us bring our defense back, but be smart about it. Don't just waste money just to waste it. Luvu and Derek Brown are must keeps. They're must. You have to bring them back. Luvu became the heart and soul of that linebacking core. He just did. He became the heart and soul of that defense. Derek Brown became a dog, a actual dog. Like, I'm proud of dude. So again, those are 2 major pieces that we need to bring back. But like I said, man, I'm anxious to see what we're going to do this offseason. I have faith in Dan Morgan. I have faith in Dave Canales that they're going to do the right thing to get us back to the days where people fear that panther on that helmet. Like they said, we want you to fear it. We want you to understand that what keep pounding means as far as this organization goes. But, this is, I know it's a short video, not short, but not short. But just, wanted to let y'all know that your boy was still here, man. And again, like I said, we're going to keep banging out some more of these videos. Going to keep giving y'all the best content I can possible. But like I said, man, before I get out of here, man, like, share, subscribe. Your boy's trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the month, man. And like I said, I'm almost there. But I know I can get there even quicker with you guys' love and support. So like I said, like, share, subscribe, man. Hit that button down below so y'all can be updated on all the videos I'm going to have going forward. With nothing else, man, like I said, keep pounding, man. Let's keep the faith. Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, we got faith in y'all. Bryce Young, I believe in you, my brother. So for the Bleeding Carolina Blues show, I've been your host, Mr. Carolina, man. Y'all be blessed. I'm out of here. Peace.